And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and also on 405 Media Radio Mondays through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Then we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with the Conservative Syndicate every Monday and Friday from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time again, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope Video, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com is where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. Call directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. On today's special segments, well, it's Sean Lefebvre and me. We're going to discuss world issues, healthcare, and we're going to continue our discussion on weight loss. But right now, I want you to stand by for news. But first, I want you to know that at 3:04 p.m. Pacific Time, it's currently 55 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's a little overcast. They're expecting some rain, but it's still bright out there, and that's a good thing. Now, let's talk about the 10 things that you need to know for today. That's Thursday, and we encapsulate these so that you can get a better idea of actually what's going to be taking place throughout the year, throughout the day. And then what I'm going to do, as soon as we're done with the 10 items that we've encapsulated for you, then I'm going to go into a little more in depth. But this is your daily look at late breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that'll be talked about today, Thursday, and probably tomorrow too. First off, North Korea's claim of an H-bomb test sets off an alarm. World powers vow to punish the impoverished and defiant nation for what would be, if confirmed, Pyongyang's fourth nuclear test since 2006. And Congress votes to repeal Obamacare. The measure faces a certain veto when it lands on Obama's desk at the White House. And company sues over rejection of the Keystone Pipeline. TransCanada, the project developer, says Obama's decision in November to kill the pipeline exceeded his power under the U.S. Constitution. Well, police in Cologne face criticism over sex assaults. Questions arise about whether officers should have intervened sooner to prevent the New Year's Eve assaults that some blame on gangs of migrants in the German city. Well, which company has almost gone global? Netflix moves into 130 more countries, nearly completing its worldwide expansion ahead of schedule. Well, a gas leak leads to a state of an emergency in Los Angeles. Natural gas has been spewing for months in one of the city's neighborhood, sickening residents and forcing thousands to evacuate. Well, who's downsizing after a lackluster holiday season? Macy's is cutting up to 4,800 jobs after recording poor sales during November and December. Well, another big Powerball jackpot. The odds of winning? Well, 1 in 292.2 million. For comparison, your chance of being struck by lightning in a year is about 1 in 960,000. Doesn't make it sound too promising, does it? And what's the latest friction for the Palin family? Dakota Meyer, a Medal of Honor winner for heroism in Afghanistan, is seeking joint custody of the child that he had out of wedlock with Bristol Palin. And then finally, 2 elected to baseball's Hall of Fame. Yep. Ken Griffey Jr. and Mike Piazza will be enshrined in Cooperstown this summer. You know what? They both certainly do deserve that. I don't think there's any question about it. Well, let's get into a little more in depth. China's market turmoil. Worry? But don't panic. There's no reason for panic. Worry, yeah, but not panic. It was the opinion of some U.S. investment strategists after another free fall on China's main stock market reverberated around the globe today and sent the Dow Jones average to loss of nearly 400 points. Stock prices in China fell so fast that for the second time in 4 days, circuit breaker mechanisms kicked in and halted trading this time after just 30 minutes. China's tumbling stock prices are in themselves nothing for investors outside the country to panic over. Because of government regulations, very few foreigners even own stocks on the Chinese markets that seized up. But the selling was prompted by a surprise currency devaluation by the Chinese government and by worries about a slowdown in the country's manufacturing and service sectors. Because China is the second largest economy in the world, those problems could spell trouble around the globe. This is not a situation that should result in panic. It should result in caution, said Christina Hooper, head of the investment strategies for the U.S. at Alliance Global Investors. Well, you know what? We've talked about China a number of times. I don't know why they think it's any big secret. We've talked about, they really control a lot of things, and I'm not so sure that some of what they're doing isn't by design. Well, when we come back from this commercial break, I'm going to talk about all the winter's a weird weather stage. Now, there are some players, and I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking News. Well, you know what? All the winners of Weird Weather stage. Well, here are the players. Get ready for weather whiplash as powerful climactic forces elbow each other for starring roles in a weird winter show. The spine-chilling polar vortex is taking center stage in Europe and bringing persistent cold to much of North America, except in Hollywood, where soggy El Nino won't give up the spotlight. After El Nino delivered a balmy Christmas Eve to the eastern U.S. and shattered national records with a warm, wet, and wild December, Minnesota may host one of the coldest NFL playoff games in history this Sunday, with wind chills around 20 below, meteorologists are predicting. The biggest thing is this whiplash, said University of Oklahoma meteorology professor Jason Furtado. It's going to be a shock for people. The center of the cold blast starts this weekend in the United States in the upper Midwest and then moves to the Hudson Bay area next week, while in Europe it starts in the east and north and then spreads, Furtado said. Europe may have to get used to temperatures 20 or so degrees below normal. Now, folks, that is cold stuff. Well, man in fake explosives vest killed amid high Paris tension. A man wearing a fake explosives vest and wielding a butcher knife was shot to death by police outside a Paris police station today, jolting an already anxious French capital with a new dose of fear as the nation grimly marked a year of terror that started with the newsroom massacre at the Charlie Hebdo satirical magazine. The assailant, who shouted Allahu Akbar, or God is great, as he waved the knife at officers, was carrying a document with an emblem of the Islamic State group and an unequivocal claim of responsibility in Arabic, the prosecutor's office said. The extremist group claimed responsibility for the January 7th, 2015 attack at Charlie Hebdo and on the kosher grocery store 3 days later that killed 17 people. The Islamic State group also claimed the November 13th attacks on Paris cafes, restaurants, a sports stadium, and a music hall that killed 130 people. Today's attack, or attempted attack, I should say, shortly before noon in Paris, multi-ethnic Groutier neighborhood, came almost 1 year to the minute after two Islamic extremists burst into the office of Charlie Hebdo, killing 11 people. Just moments earlier, President Francois Hollande had paid respects to fallen security forces, 3 of whom were killed last year in a terrorist violence, saluting their valor in protecting this way of life, the one that terrorists want to attack. The fallen were killed so that we can live free, Hollande said, describing the November attacks as acts of war. Well, certainly nothing other than that, right? At least I wouldn't think it would be anything other than that. Well, how about this? The world could face months of Chinese market aftershocks, if you think about it. The latest trigger was currency jitters, but today's plunge in Chinese stocks was just one of a series of aftershocks from last year's boom and bust that could shake markets for months to come. Investor anxiety over economic weakness and a possible glut of unwanted shares flooding the market have complicated Beijing's efforts to withdraw emergency controls imposed after Chinese stock prices collapsed in June. Today, trading halted for the day after a stock index fell 7% in a half hour into the trading day. It was this week's second day-long suspension after a plunge in prices on Monday that tripped the same circuit breakers that were introduced on January the 1st. Wow. And don't think that because it's there, it's going to have no effect on here. It is absolutely going to affect us. Well, Californians finally see sun after a series of El Nino storms. Californians cautiously ventured outside today after days of powerful El Nino-driven storms drenched the region, stopping cable cars in San Francisco, stranding motorists, and dumping heavy snow in northern Arizona. Earlier in the day, the last major storm expected this week lashed coastal areas of California, stirring waves as high as 16 feet and flooding some low-lying streets before turning east toward Nevada and Arizona. The sun eventually came out in parts of Los Angeles, but rain lingered in San Diego County, where 45-year-old Eddie Vera marveled at the monster surf that crashed against the closed Ocean Beach Pier. The city in general is not ready for this type of rain, he said, as gawkers took selfies using the giant waves as a backdrop. Wow. Can you imagine? Well, we need it. I don't know if we need it this strong and for this long, but we certainly need it, and we're better to get it this way than not at all. Well, in Iowa, establishment GOP candidates play expectations game. You know, Jeb Bush and Chris Christie won't win Iowa. Marco Rubio probably won't either. But these Republican presidential candidates are devoting significant time and resources to the state in a battle to beat expectations and each other. In the February 1 GOP caucuses, each hopes a surprising strong showing in Iowa will give them a boost heading into the New Hampshire primary, where the political landscape is more favorable to more traditional candidates. The expectations game for establishment candidates has added intrigue to the final sprint to Iowa's leadoff caucuses. While the fight for the first place has settled into a two-way race between conservative favorites Ted Cruz and Donald Trump, some of the biggest unknowns surround the candidates for whom a loss in Iowa could still be viewed as a win. You know, it's just, who knows? I mean, nobody knows. You know, January in Iowa caucuses is all about the establishment race, said Doug Cross, an Iowa Republican strategist who has not backed a candidate in the 2016 contest yet. So, you know what? Time will tell. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. Let me end it up with this. Libya truck bombing kills at least 60 policemen and wounds 200. This came in 44 minutes ago. A massive truck bomb exploded near a police base in the western Libyan town of Zlitan on today, killing at least 60 policemen and wounding around 200 others, officials said. No group immediately claimed responsibility for the attack, but a local Islamic State affiliate has been trying to gain a foothold in Zlitan, spreading westward from its central stronghold in the city of Sirte along the North African country's coast. The UN Special Envoy to Libya, Martin Kobler, denounced the attack and urged Libyans to put their differences aside and unite to confront the scourge of terrorism. UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon condemned the attack as well as ongoing attacks by the Islamic State group on oil facilities near Sidra and called for a national unity government as the best way for Libyans to confront terrorism in all of its forms. Now, do not go away. We've got to go for another commercial break. When we get back, I'm going to talk about the IRS loses. The first case is they can't extend that statute of limitations without omitted income, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So please, don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, General Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. Sends chills up and down my spine, although that'd be kind of easy to do anyway. It's kind of chilly outside. The low here in sunny Southern California is going to be about 39 degrees. Right now it's 55 degrees, and I know in some parts of the world, we've talked about it already, it's certainly a lot more cold than that. But you know what? This is a cold we're not used to, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, let's get right to it. The IRS loses this first case. Can't extend statute of limitations without omitted income. Here's the thing. The IRS assessed tax against a partnership, saying that its partners had overstated their tax base in it, which caused their income from it to be understated. The partnership objected that the 3-year statute of limitations had expired before the assessment. The IRS answered that the partners had understated their income by more than 25%. So the limitation period was extended to 6 years. Now, this is what the court said. The 6-year period applies only when a return omits 25% of gross income, not when net income is miscalculated using items reported on the return as here. Now, omits means something left out and not something put in and overstated. The partnership escapes the tax. You know what? And that's the way it ought to be, right? Sure. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. They cannot get a case dismissed on a technicality. You'll love this. A company filed a wrongful levy suit against the IRS, which answered that the deadline for doing so had already passed. The company replied that it had first made an administrative request to the IRS to return the funds, which extended the deadline. The IRS answered that this would extend the deadline only if the request met several technical requirements. Since the company had to prove it did, but it hadn't attached a copy to its case filing to prove it, its case filing was defective. Well, the company went to court. This is what the judge said. You know what? It's too soon to dismiss the case on this technicality. The company will get a chance to produce a copy of the request to prove that it met all of the requirements. You know, the IRS is always looking to get into your pocket, you know, and even when it's not right. Let me give you one last one here. The IRS loses. A delay costs tax in 22 cases. Listen to this. The tax code says that after a partnership settles a dispute with the IRS has 1 year to assess the resulting tax due against the partners personally as an individual case. Well, a complex partnership dispute consolidating 22 court cases was settled by an exchange of letters between the partners and the IRS. But the IRS didn't assess tax against the partners within a year, so they said that they escaped it. The IRS answered that the settlement wouldn't be final until a closing agreement was actually signed. So they went to court. This is what the judge said. The letters agreeing to settlement were legally binding on both sides. In them, the IRS never required a closing statement. It can't do so after the fact, so the partners escaped the tax. And you know what? And that's exactly the way it's going to be. Now, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing stuff. Well, that's where we're at right now when we talk about inside the IRS. Oh yeah, now this is not tax law, but this is precedent that the IRS has done. You can use this in your defense if it fits there for you. But listen to this, you'll find it interesting. You know what happens? How do you understand how the IRS actually interprets a tax law? You ever think about that? Well, the IRS begins the interpretation process by issuing regulations, proposed, temporary, and final. Now, additional guidance is provided by revenue rulings, private letter rulings, field service advice, notices, actions on decision, technical advice memoranda, and audit guidelines. Now, for details on each of these, visit the IRS website at www.irs.gov. Now, ultimately, the validity of the IRS's view of the law is tested in court cases. Sometimes the IRS is found to be right and it wins. Other times, its interpretation is found to be inconsistent with the intent of Congress, which actually drafted the law. Now, what course to follow? Read professional publications and law review articles. An internet search will help you find these for yourself and to help you decide how to proceed in regard to a specific tax issue, or retain a knowledgeable tax professional. And that's what I always recommend. That's what you should be doing. Well, let me give you one more. Mortgage defaults and the IRS. Cancellation of debt, we call it COD, is going to be a real problem for many taxpayers who've defaulted on their home mortgages. The bank holding the mortgage is required to file with the IRS a Form 1099-C, that's cancellation of debt, reflecting the amount of COD required to be reported on your return as income. Now, the tax trap here, the COD income amount may include unpaid principal, accrued interest, penalties, and attorney fees. There is a loophole, though. If you're insolvent under state law, your liabilities exceed your assets. When you default, the amount of the COD is not considered income. So there is a bit of fairness in the law, but you better know the law in order to get treated fairly. That's the problem. So, as I always say, retain the services of a professional licensed representative. That's what you want to do. Don't ever go the other way. Now, do not go away. When we come back, we're going to be with our own Sean Lefebvre at his Geared for Wellness Corner. And besides that, I'm sure sometime in this next hour, Sean and I are going to probably solve the world's problems. There's plenty of them. So don't go away. We'll be right back with my good buddy, Sean Lefebvre.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. Well, my good buddy's waiting in the wings, even though, you know what, right here at 3:33 p.m. Pacific time, currently 55 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire. That's the high, by the way. It's going to go down to 39 degrees, which, you know, for California, that's kind of cold. Or at least where I'm at, that's cold. And I think where Sean's at, that's cold. So let me get him a proper introduction, get him in here. Let's get started on the world's problems. And I know that we're going to finish off a conversation we started a couple days ago about weight loss. So let's get this introduction going.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner.
Hey, Sean, welcome aboard. Good to have you here. We got lots of world problems, and oh my God, it just started pouring outside the studio here. I see cats' tails and dogs' tails, and animals are lining up 2 by 2. Holy mackerel! What's it doing by you?
Well, make sure when you go outside, be careful. Don't step on a poodle.
I can't believe you said that.
I just couldn't help it.
All right, this is why I like being on your show. I can pretend I'm 8 years old again. I was going to say
stuff like that.
Yeah, from your lips to God's ears. I can't. Jeez. Is it raining where you're at? I mean, all of a sudden it just busted loose.
No, I guess we got this morning we got a little bit of rain, not very much at all, and it's pretty much 80%, 90%, 85% blue skies right now.
Well, I'm guessing this is probably heading toward you. You know what? It might have just been a cloudburst because it looks like it stopped already. In any event, my friend, we're going to continue our discussion on weight loss and the stuff that was going on. And so why don't I give you the microphone, let you get started until I can find you say something that I can interrupt you on.
That shouldn't take long.
Oh, and then I want to preempt this with saying, talk a little slower and take a breath once in a while, so that when I do interrupt you, it won't seem like it's that obvious.
Okay, I'll just kind of go like that every once in a while. That's fair.
Go for it, buddy.
So, I know when we talked Tuesday, and I'll just kind of give a quick little recap for those who didn't get to listen Tuesday, because obviously they must have been, either held up at gunpoint or some reason for not being here.
Oh, yeah.
But, there's no other reason to not listen to the show. So we were talking about weight loss, and really how weight loss is truly about hormones. There's a lot of fad diets out there that restrict calories and boost your metabolism and on and on, but they're really not a good permanent solution. They're very, very much a temporary solution. So a permanent solution is addressing the hormones. And of course, the two main hormones that we're looking at when it comes to weight loss are insulin for burning sugar and leptin for burning fat. And what we talked about was how leptin, the body can, just like it can become insulin resistant to where now you can't burn sugar, you can also become leptin resistant to where your body is not able to utilize leptin. And leptin is the hormone that tells your body to burn fat. And so you have on the hypothalamus, you have these leptin receptors that when the body wants to burn fat for energy, it creates leptin. Leptin attaches to these leptin receptors and the body starts burning fat. Well, what they found was that people who are obese have highly elevated levels of leptin in their body, and the reason is because their body can't use the leptin. It can't burn up that hormone, so we just build up an extra stores of it. And what they found out was through chronic inflammation and toxicity and poor diet that you can actually burn out those leptin receptors. And that's where we ended the talk on Tuesday.
Well, you've got a great memory.
That depends on who you're asking.
Well, I can't remember this morning, much less last Tuesday.
It depends on. This is something I like talking about. Now, if it was, if it was a conversation I had with, my girlfriend, and then probably not going to remember.
Or at least she's going to tell you got it wrong, right?
I'm not even sure. I don't even remember if I even have a girlfriend or not. To be honest with you, I have to keep notes for stuff like that. I have to look at my phone. Do I have it? Oh yeah, I do. Okay.
Well, I used to have a girlfriend. Now I got a boss.
Yes, you do. You got a good one though. She's equitable.
Yeah, she's a good girl.
So that's where we left off. And so the question is, okay, and that was the question you asked was, gosh, can these leptin receptors be repaired? And of course, the short answer is yes, of course they can. But it takes a little bit of work. And so what you got to do is, I know there's a lot of people out there, they want to lose weight, they want to change their diet. And then it's very confusing because there's a lot of different diets out there. And one person will tell you, oh, yeah, man, all I do is just eat fruit all the time. And it's perfect for me. Or one person does Atkins, or, some people do low fat, high carb. Some people do no carb and, lots of protein and fat. And I'm personally a big fan of a diet that really increases the good kinds of fat. You got to be careful. You can't just go out and start eating, pound of bacon, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Although I would love to be able to do that.
Oh yeah. Do you know anybody that doesn't like bacon? Bacon goes with everything.
No, we call those terrorists if they don't like bacon.
Yeah. Well, I usually use a couple of adjectives in front of that. So.
Yeah, if you don't like bacon, I don't know. That's kind of the litmus test in this world. But now, there's probably not many people out there who don't like bacon. There's just a lot of people out there who won't eat it.
Yeah.
But so I prefer a diet that gives you moderate protein. Lower. Now, this is specifically for people who are trying to lose weight. Mm-hmm. You want to significantly lower your carbohydrates and eat a moderate amount of protein and really increase your good fats. So when I say good fats, I mean, of course, avocados, olives, olive oils, lots of nuts and seeds. Coconut oil is great. Coconut milk is great. There's all kinds of good, like grapeseed oil that you can cook with. There's a lot of good fats out there, when it comes to the vegetable world, or vegetable and fruit world, because avocado is actually a fruit, and it's my favorite fruit. But even when it comes to animal products, really, you can get good quality fats from beef and chicken, and of course lamb, definitely. But if it's beef, you want to make sure that it's from a grass-fed cow. If it's chicken, it needs to be free range. I hate to use the word all natural because there's lots of. They used to put arsenic in chicken feed to help fatten the chickens. They've been doing it for decades. Of course, arsenic is natural. However, it's not what you really want to put in your body. So you want to make sure that, you're eating chicken that's organic, it's free range, it's outside eating bugs and the things it should eat, not just the grain that's stuck in front of it.
Whoa. I was waiting for you to take that breath that you never did it. I want to go back to the chickens that are eating arsenic. It got to be in just minuscule amounts. Wouldn't it kill them? And wouldn't the absorption of that when they put them to market harm us?
Yeah, it's, the FDA just literally last year came out with a statement saying that, in fact, something that a lot of us have been saying for a long time, and that is that chicken meat is in fact laced with arsenic. Because what happens is it is a minuscule amount. It's a tiny amount. And, I guess it helps preserve the chicken feed for some reason, but it also helps chickens who eat arsenic-laced food, it fattens them up faster.
So is arsenic like other poisons where it's accumulative, that it keeps building on itself so that eventually...
Right. And that's what happens. Yeah, they call it bioaccumulation. It just slowly builds up in the body. And so it's like any other kind of heavy metal, like lead, mercury, aluminum, whatever. You can be exposed to tiny amounts of it over years, and you're not going to really notice it. And all of a sudden, things just don't feel right. You get a little brain fog, or you get, you're just like little aches and pains, or, whatever these things are happening, digestive system's off. And what it is that these heavy metals, and in this case arsenic, are just built up in the body. And it does the same thing for the chickens. Of course, chickens don't live long enough for the arsenic to kill them or make them sick, but they do live long enough to bioaccumulate enough in there. So now when we eat the chicken meat, we are taking in arsenic in our body, and now our body's holding on to it. But, so now we've been eating chicken for the last 30, 40 years.
Well, my grandmother gave a whole brand new meaning to the noun necking. Because she'd grab a chicken and just swing it by the neck.
Yeah.
And, you chop that sucker off and let it run around wild for a while.
When Victor was little, we went to his grandparents' house, and they had chickens, just like free range. They had their own chickens, so they would get the eggs from it and everything. And every now and then they slaughter a chicken or two. And first time he ever saw that, of course, they cut the head off, and there's blood everywhere. And he goes, "Oh, strawberry!" Thank God he didn't actually try that taste, but yeah, it is. When you grab a chicken, you just snap and crack that neck, and then cut the head off, and they still flop around. But that's an interesting process, and that's what you really want to eat. You want to be able to eat, your chickens the way that we ate them, 100 plus years ago. Grandma and Grandpa
with no additives in their system that are going to wind up harming us on an accumulated basis, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you look at a chicken today, like a Tyson chicken, compared to chicken from the 1950s, they're huge. They're like incredible Hulk chicken. They literally are the chicken equivalent of a bodybuilder. Yeah. Their breasts are huge, and the legs are actually kind of like really not a whole lot more. Not a whole lot bigger, because we as a culture have decided that the white meat, the breast meat of the chicken, is healthier for you, when in fact it's actually not healthier for you. But because we got on that low fat kick, we decided that low fat must automatically just equal better for you. And the dark meat of the chicken, the reason why it's dark, if you look at a duck, I'm sure you've had duck before, and the duck's breast is duck meat is one of my favorite. If it's done right, it's actually better than beefsteak.
Oh, I love duck. I love duck, and I love the dark meat from a chicken, or a turkey,
I love the dark meat from a chicken too. And so, like, the breast from a duck is dark meat. Also, it's not white meat. And the reason why chickens it's white meat is because it doesn't get any blood flow. The dark color comes from the blood flowing through the muscles, and the blood is what carries all the nutrition. So the leg of the chicken is darker because of the blood flow going through it. It's more nutrition. It actually has more nutritional value, and it tends to be higher in fat. And if it's a free range chicken, then it's going to be a good quality fat. It's actually going to do good things for you.
Well, that's interesting. I've never heard this before. I never did know why there was dark meat and white meat on a bird like that, and didn't realize it was because of blood flow.
Yeah, it's because of blood flow. That's, the chickens, they don't fly. They don't use their wings for anything. Maybe they're scared, they flop them around a little bit, but most of the time they're pretty sedentary. They're not doing much. They may be walking around looking for something to eat, but they don't use their wings for anything.
Well, listen, we've got to go on a commercial break. We're going to be right back, and we're going to keep them flapping in the wind. We'll be right back with these chickens and their blood flow problems in our own Sean LaFave. But after these brief messages, don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness Corner. We got him flapping in the wind. We're talking about dark wheat meat, light meat. We're talking about healthy meat. We're talking about not healthy meat. We're talking about diet. While this man is trying to get his voice back because he's coughing over to death over there. Anyway, hopefully if you've got yourself back together again, we can continue where we left off, flapping in the wind.
I pretty much spend the entire commercial break just clearing my throat and coughing and hacking and making sure I just get it out of my system. So when we get back online, I'm not, doing this the entire time. But so we talk about the difference between the dark meat and the light meat with the chicken, and of course make sure your chicken's free range. If you're going to eat beef, you want to make sure that it comes from a grass-fed cow and so on. They just kind of, a lot of it's really common sense. Make sure your animal's not injected with hormones or antibiotics or fed any type of chemicals. Make sure they're fed with their cows are naturally supposed to eat grass. So if they're grain fed, they're going to be unhealthy for you. That is what causes heart disease is the fact that we feed grain to cattle. It's not the beef itself; it's what we fed to the cow. Because the grain, the corn specifically, is very high in omega-6 fatty acids, and we need omega-6s. They're important, but we need a good ratio of omega-3s to omega-6s. And when cows eat grain, they get about somewhere between 10 to 20 times more omega-6s than they should have in their meat. And now that's being passed on to us when we eat it. And that's what causes that inflammation process. It's actually what creates heart disease in the long run for people who eat a lot of red meat. It's not the red meat; it's what we fed the cow before it went to slaughter. So that's an important thing. But so so even fat. Like I said, when I love going, I stop at the pavilions of the grocery store on my way home almost every night, and I look and I see what's going on. I eat a lot of steak, but I always get the grass-fed steak, and I look for the one that's got a lot of fat to it because one, it just tastes really good, but that fat from that grass-fed beef is actually really healthy for you.
And that's where the flavor, and that's where the flavor is at. It's interesting. Just it's kind of off the subject a little bit, but my wife likes lean meat. She likes fillets and stuff like that. And I'm not a big fillet eater because there's no fat in it, which means there's no taste, there's no flavor in the doggone thing. My favorite steak is a ribeye steak, a bone-in ribeye, because it's marbled with fat, and that's where all the flavor comes from. But I agree with you. I mean, you want to get grass-fed beef. The flavor is going to be unbelievable, and you're not going to have any of those, I don't know what you'd call them, the bad stuff that's there.
Yeah, you're going to have we'll call them toxins,
Yeah.
You're not going to have the toxins that are given to cows that are raised on these mass farms. And so, things like that are important. And so when I talk about someone, hey, you've got to lose, and it's not even always about weight loss. Like I've got a friend right now who he's a tall guy and probably weighs around 210, 220, something like that. But he's like 6'3" or 6'4". He's really tall, and so he looks fit. When you look at him, you if you saw him walking down the street, you go, "Oh, that guy's in pretty good shape." He's not a supermodel, he's not a bodybuilder, but he looks like he's in good shape. But he was freaked out. I saw him Monday, and he's like, "Oh my God, Sean!" He goes, "My blood sugar this morning." He goes, "I took it." He goes, "I had all these issues. I went to the doctor." He goes, "My blood sugar was 500."
Holy cow!
And for those who don't know what it's supposed to be, if you've been fasting, it should be below 100. If you haven't been fasting, it should be no more than 140. And so his blood sugar was through the roof, which tells me that we have a hormone problem. It's insulin. His body can't burn sugar. And
is he pre or is he already diabetic?
Oh, that's full blown diabetic at that point. Yeah. He just didn't realize it. He went through the pre-diabetic stage and just pushed through it. Didn't even realize it until all of a sudden, he was like, I talked to him yesterday, and he's trying to read. He goes, "Man," he goes, "I can't see anything." I'm like, "Yeah, because you can't get any blood flow. Your whole body's just messed up right now." When blood sugar is off, what people don't realize is the human body lives in such a delicate balance that it doesn't take much to throw our body system off. For you to go from being perfectly normal levels of blood sugar to being considered diabetic, all it takes is the equivalent of 1/4 of a teaspoon of sugar in your blood system to make you diabetic.
You're kidding.
No, it's not a lot,
Well, Sean, now that begs for a big, long conversation. I mean, I don't use sugar in my coffee or anything like that. I just don't. I don't care that much for it. But there are some. If I was making a dessert, I'd probably use sugar for that, and it would probably be more than a teaspoon. There are people. I've seen people pour sugar into their coffee. This has got to be a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, well, it is in the long run if it's a lifestyle thing. Like I literally years ago watched a guy at lunch, and I don't want to say he ate for lunch. He drank for lunch. His whole lunch was a 2-liter bottle of Coke. Now I'm getting the guy was morbidly obese. I mean, he was probably 150 or more pounds overweight, and I'm guessing that he's got these massive sugar cravings because of his obesity, and he's probably also just couldn't afford or for whatever reason, maybe he didn't budget to be able to afford a decent meal. And you can get a 2-liter bottle of Coke for, $1.50 or whatever. And so, and then he gets a sugar fix and he feels like, well, I'm getting calories, so I still have energy for the day. And he's got caffeine. And so I'm sure he rationalized it somehow, but what that's doing is throwing his body into a tailspin. But the reason why we can go out and drink a Coke or have a big old piece of chocolate cake or something like that and not go into a diabetic coma is because we have insulin. And the insulin will immediately, your body just starts dumping insulin and beating that sugar. It starts immediately burning up all that sugar. That's why people who eat things that are sugary that have a healthy body, they get all wiry and jittery because the body throws in all this insulin to burn that energy, and you just threw a whole bunch of coal into the furnace. And now, man, you've got, if it's a train, you're going to be going full bore ahead. And so as long as you're healthy, you can get away with eating the sugar. The problem is if you continue to do that as a lifestyle, you start burning out those insulin receptors, and that's when your blood sugar starts going up, and that's when you have all kinds of issues like health problem, like you can't see, you start gaining weight, all kinds of things start to go into a tizzy. And typically, when you have insulin problems, they tend to go hand in hand with leptin problems as well. You'll see elevated insulin in a person. You'll also see elevated leptin in a person as well. So now they're not very good at burning sugar, plus they can't burn fat, and they're gaining weight, and their energy level just plummets. It goes into the toilet.
Okay, now with that, we actually have to take another short break. We're going to be right back, and then when we come back, we have 2 longer segments, so that works out a lot better for us. We'll be right back with our own Sean Lefebvre in the Geared for Wellness Corner right after these brief messages. Please don't go away. We'll be right back.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my favorite guy, Sean Lefebvre, and his Geared for Wellness Corner. But you know what? If you haven't been listening, you need to go to the archives and pick this show up. Sean is just a storehouse of information and valuable, but no, really, truly valuable information for you to have. You know, a lot of times, I listen to Sean all the time, and every once in a while he'll say something, and I don't know if it was because I wasn't listening before, I got involved in something else, but I'll hear something that I hadn't heard before. Today's been one of those cases where you just continue to say things that I don't remember hearing before that I find really, really interesting, Sean. So let's get back to it.
All right. Well, we'll just keep this one going then. So we left off talking about when you have insulin levels that are elevated, you tend to also have leptin levels that are elevated. And the reason for that is both are typically caused by an inflammatory response in the body. The body gets inflamed at a cell level, and really you get this overactive cytokine response, and then the cells start having issues, and then all of the insulin receptors and leptin receptors tend to get blunted. And so now both these hormones aren't functioning the way that we need them to. And so the question, of course, is, how do we fix that? And what I was alluding to earlier when we were talking about the chicken and the steak and all these different things is eating good fats. I like a diet. This is not, some people need to be on a diet like this probably the vast majority of the time, but most people can get on a diet like this. They can recover from their weight loss resistance. Typically, a person who says, "You know what? I've tried to lose weight. I've literally helped people that were over 300 pounds get down to where they were below 300 pounds for the first time in 10, 15, 20 years, kind of thing." And so what I always say is the best way to repair all of that damage is to eat a diet where you get rid of all sugars and all grains. And when I say all sugars, I mean anything that can convert to sugar. Bread, pasta, of course, those are grains. Potatoes. A lot of people think, like this buddy of mine, his doctor said it was okay for him to eat potatoes. Potatoes metabolize very quickly in the body. It's not much better than eating sugar. And another problem with potatoes is the growing methods in this country have gotten so severe with the pesticides that the Environmental Watch Group has actually put potatoes on their dirty dozen list as one of the worst vegetables that you can eat as far as pesticides and other toxins in the food. And
so do you feel the same way about organic potatoes?
No. Organic is fine as long as you've got a healthy body. But again, if you're in the mode where you can't utilize leptin to burn fat for energy, you've got to remove everything that can be converted into sugar. That means moderate protein. If you eat a lot of meat, and we talked about this on Tuesday, you look at the Auschwitz survivors, they had no muscle left because the body takes the muscle and converts it into sugar for energy, because they also didn't have any fat, so it didn't have any way of giving them energy, so it took what was available to it. The body hates doing that. The body is so incredible at getting what it wants that it comes to a point where when you get so far gone that there's no willpower in the world that you can overcome this. And I've actually talked to people who I've never personally had a client of mine that was this far into the inability to burn fat for energy. But those who can't burn fat, they'll tell you they get these insane cravings for carbohydrates, for sugars, anything that's going to convert to sugar. And if they don't get it literally they feel like they're going to go crazy, right? Those are the people who tell you, if I don't get lunch, man, they're going to get grumpy, they're going to get irritable, they're going to get sleepy. But I've known people or talked to people that were so far gone that they said they would wake up in the morning and they would go into the kitchen and they could see the evidence of where they had made themselves something to eat in the middle of the night, but they don't remember it because their body they needed the sleep, but they also needed the energy. They couldn't go a full 8 hours of sleep without eating because they had no way of creating energy. We need energy when we sleep for our body to repair itself. So these people were literally sleep eating. They would wake up, go make themselves food, not wake up. They would, in a half sleep state, go make food, go back to bed, and not even realize they had done it. They wake up in the morning not even knowing they had done that.
So that's what sleepwalking is.
That's sleepwalking and sleep eating. Yeah. It's these people. I mean, it's not just like some people will sleepwalk. That's for a different reason. But these people were literally they got up with one sole purpose, and that was to go get some carbohydrates because their body had zero ability to burn fat. You should always be able to burn fat while you sleep. People who are diabetic, it's interesting. You would think that if a person slept a full 8 hours and they got up in the morning and they did the finger prick and they test their blood levels, that their blood sugar should theoretically be lower because they haven't eaten anything. Yeah. They've technically been fasting. And this buddy of mine, he said he woke up and his blood sugar was 300 after fasting for 8 hours. And then the reason why that happens is the body needs sugar so badly that it's breaking down the muscle. It's converting the muscle into sugar while it's literally cannibalizing itself. So you're losing muscle mass while you sleep because you can't eat. And if it gets to the point where it's too bad, then there are people who will actually do that. Like I said, that sleep eating. They'll wake up in the middle of the night and go eat without even realizing it. So to correct that, to get past all that, you need to cut out all sugars, anything that converts to sugar. And unfortunately, in the short run, and this is not something that the average person should ever do, is cut out even all fruit. Now, you can eat berries like strawberries and blueberries, again, organic, raspberries, those kind of things. Don't go crazy on them because they do have sugar, just not a lot. They're very low glycemic. But you want to cut out all fruits, all grains, all sugars, anything processed at all.
This is a recommendation you're making for problem people, right?
This is for problem. These are people who have gotten to the point where their obesity is out of control and they've tried everything and they can't lose weight. They try restricting their diet, they still can't lose weight. They get these insane cravings. The typical person who I tell to do this is the one that I go, when you're craving food, what do you crave? And they'll say bread or maybe pasta. And I've had clients that I've helped and they'll go, there's no way I can give up bread. And I'm like, well, then you're just going to have to stay fat because you will never overcome this until you get this out of your system. And what's happening is all the sugar they got in their body has now created this body-wide state of inflammation, low-level inflammation at the cell level. And so you've got to remove all that. The good part about a diet like this, you can eat moderate protein, you can eat all the vegetables you want, you can eat all of the good fats you want. Lots of. The nice thing about fatty foods is they make you feel satiated. You don't feel hungry for a longer period. You feel more full for a longer period of time. And so, but you don't have to limit your diet dietary calories with a diet like this, because the whole purpose of it is to reduce that inflammation and heal those leptin receptors. And this is something that I can tell you, I know a doctor that built his business off of the information that I'm giving you right now. That's how he built his first nutrition practice, and he would charge people $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 for a 6-month program. This guy ended up so successful. He was going over. He actually helped I think it was the king of the United Arab Emirates with his diet. This guy now is so successful. He charges $10,000 for a year program with him, and that's just for his advice. All the nutrition that he sells and everything else is on top of that. But when he started out, he was selling this program for like $4,000. All he was doing was literally telling people to do exactly what I'm telling you to do today, because it's that powerful of a diet. It works. And so people were telling their friends, and they were all coming to him, and they're going, "This is amazing. How do I make this happen more?" But when you cut out all of the sugar, you cut out all of the grains, and you limit your protein, and you eat good quality fats, amazing thing happen in your body. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not fun in the beginning, because you're going to have to fight those cravings, those sugar cravings, those bread, carbohydrate cravings. But once you get past it, I can always tell when a person is in the healing phase and they're able to utilize leptin again, because they'll come in and they'll go, you know what, I really don't crave bread anymore. And it usually takes about a month. If someone's very, very sick, it could take 2 or 3 months of that type of diet. And then you slowly introduce things back in. Some whole grains, if you're going to have, maybe sweet potatoes, maybe not, if you're going to do potatoes, make sure they're organic, some fruits. But you definitely don't just go, okay, I hit it, and you just go hog wild and start eating again. Everything you got to slowly introduce, because you might find out that some of those things that you cut out, like say corn, maybe you have an IgG reaction to it. An IgG is like an allergic reaction that manifests very slowly. The reaction to it could show up 24 hours after you eat it, so you don't even associate it with that food. And so some people, like we had a patient in our office in Kansas, and she had hyperhidrosis, which meant she had excessive sweating, and she got really sweaty on her hands. Her hands would sweat all the time. Her hands were always wet and clammy. And what we discovered with her was it was something as simple as a corn allergy. As long as she didn't eat, they had given her drugs, they had tried all kinds of things with her. The doctors said the only way to fix it was to give her a surgery where they literally go in and they sever the nerves that go to the hands that cause your hands to sweat. And I've known a couple of people who've had that surgery. It works. I can't imagine that there must be some ramification to it. I don't know what, but that's the only way the doctors know how to fix it is to sever the nerves that cause your hands to sweat. And what we did was we just started using a food diet, elimination diet, and found out that it was corn. If she didn't eat corn, she didn't have hyperhidrosis, which meant she's allergic to it. There's probably doing other things to your body as well.
Well, it certainly seems to me that that's a less invasive and a better way to go. You know what? You and I have said this many times. The problem with traditional medicine is that they treat symptoms, they don't treat causes. And what I like about holistic medicine and the things that you talk about is that you're treating the cause, not the symptom. The symptom is nothing more than an indicator to you as to what you need to try to fix it.
Yep. Yeah. You've got to get to the root cause. It's like a weed. You can go out and you can cut the weed. You can cut the stem off, but the weed's still going to grow back because the root's in the ground. So yeah, you've got to get rid of the root cause of whatever it is that's causing your health problems. And for a lot of people, in fact, there's study after study after study. There's countless ones that basically say that. I was just reading one the other day. They said 80 to 90% of all cancers are basically lifestyle induced. And, and it's something I've said on the show before, you get these, people always, say, hey, let's pray for John because he's got cancer and this and that. And, it's like, well, then we all get together and we have our little Bible study and then we all bring cookies and cake and, these processed little food things and everything comes from a box. And of course we've all got cancer. It drove me nuts. Susan G. Komen, that just drives because they have the pink ribbons, but they use all kinds of things. I've never seen their logo on Totino's pizza. It's like, that's one of the worst things you can put in your body. That's going to give you cancer. Why are we using Totino's pizza to help say we're going to prevent cancer, And as a matter of fact, I think Mike's hard apple cider, again, it's alcohol. I have no problem with alcohol, but if you have cancer, you need to stop drinking alcohol. Mm-hmm. So, there's a lot of lifestyle things that we do, but, we get what, unfortunately, is we've been taught this lie that, that calories are calories are calories, and there's not really a big difference. There's a huge difference. And I think people are starting to wake up to it, but what they're also starting to realize is we've gotten so far gone in our healthcare system that a lot of people don't know how to bring it back. Well, what's going to bring it back is going back to eating real food, and that's how people fix themselves.
So, Sean, if you've become an obese problem, not only is it affected your health, but everything else, and you do whatever is necessary drastically diet-wise that doesn't do more harm but starts to fix the problem, eventually you can begin to moderately reinstitute some of these things that you've enjoyed over the years, as long as you can keep it at a moderate level. Is that kind of correct?
And that's absolutely correct. Yeah, you slowly start reintroducing. Now, some people, what I'll do is if we're trying to figure out if they've got a sensitivity to a food, what I'll tell them to do is cut that food out, or maybe cut out several foods. Let's just go with something simple, like cut out all grains. No soy. You really shouldn't eat soy unless it's been fermented anyway, like, soy sauce, tempeh, tofu, those kind of things. Processed soy is just really not good for you. And plus, most of it in the U.S. is GMO. But anyway, you get rid of all the grains. Get rid of the potatoes, get rid of the rice, even good whole brown rice. I mean, when I say get rid of grains, I mean everything. No rice, no wheat, no corn, any of that stuff. And cut it out for at least 2 weeks. And then if you want to find out if you're sensitive to something, once you start feeling better, go gangbusters with it. Eat a ton of it. Go eat bread and then eat a bowl of pasta and then, go out and have something with a lot of flour in it or whatever, some sort of wheat product. And if you don't feel worse, then you're okay with it. You still want to eat it in moderation. You don't want to go crazy with it every day. But what a lot of people do is they'll say reintroduce it full bore, and they'll go, oh my God, 2 days or the next day or within 2 days, I felt like my old self again. I was sluggish and I couldn't think. And I go, okay, well then you need to cut that food either drastically limit that food or cut it out completely. Some people can do great on corn, some people can't. Again, everybody metabolizes foods in a different way, and so I think for anyone who says, my goal is to lose weight, especially if you've gotten to the point where you're more than just a little obese, and you've tried and you can't lose weight, then the eliminating sugars and grains is the best way to do it. And it's just something, again, it's a short run thing. Once you get that momentum going, you'll see a huge difference. And it's funny because the people who, you notice I haven't even talked about exercise at all.
Yeah, I was thinking. I've been thinking about that, and you haven't talked about exercise at all.
Yeah. I believe that losing weight loss is 80, if not 90% diet. I think exercise has very little to do with weight loss,
but it does have a lot to do with maintaining your health, right?
Yeah, you need to stay active for sure. But like you go out and walk. That's all you really need to do. Human beings really didn't, other than maybe when we would chase the animals down to hunt them before we had, rifles and horses to ride on and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. Humans didn't really spend a lot of time running. We kind of chilled most of the time, but we did walk. We were out in the fields working. We did things that were more of a slower pace. But when it comes to exercise, there's really the only kind of exercise that I think is super effective for weight loss is what they call interval training, where you do a high intensity training, and it usually takes about 10 minutes to do a workout. Do something very high intense for like a minute, take a couple of minutes off, and do another high intense like a sprint or something like that. And that's for another show, because that one I could go on for a good half hour just talking about how to do that properly. Maybe we could do that on next Tuesday. Yeah. But there are forms of exercise that are more beneficial. We all know someone who does goes out and does cardio. Maybe they go to their aerobics class, and they spend an hour, 3 or 4 times a day, and they still got a pretty thick body, But the person is super fit, can run circles around you. Their heart is strong as an ox, but they still have a thick layer of fat around their body, because cardio at a moderate heart rate doesn't burn fat. It burns fat while you're doing it, but it doesn't burn fat while you're resting. High intensity training like sprinting burns pure sugar while you're doing it. If you do it a few times in a row, it tricks the body into going, okay, I'm done burning sugar, and now for the next 24 to 36 hours you burn fat. And it's a really neat way to do it. So, and that can also help with exercise. Can also help with reducing the inflammation.
Well, let's hold that thought, because we're 30 seconds from a commercial, and I think that's a good spot to come back at. So we're talking to our own Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness Corner. It's just a fantastic subject today. We'll be right back with Sean right after these brief messages. Please don't go away. We'll be right back, guys.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to my good buddy Sean Lefebvre in his Geared for Wellness Corner. You know, Sean, when we left, you were talking about the different kinds of exercises, and you mentioned the fact that I'm a walker and I love walking, and I do and I do push-ups and stuff like that. I want to stay in pretty decent shape. But one of the things that I see on television and some of these weight things is you get these. I was going to try not to use the word obese, but I guess that's what I have to say. Obese people that lose a tremendous amount of weight, whether that be with these lap bands or these surgeries that they have or whatever. But what they get left with when they get control of this weight is this horrible skin that is just falling all over the place because you lose the fat, but you don't lose what was covering it. You stretch that skin, and I'm guessing that there's no way around that but surgery, huh?
Yeah, unfortunately, when you get to a point, and that's beyond obese. Obese is not a bad word. I mean, it's a clinical term that means more than 30 pounds overweight, or above your whatever has been determined to be the ideal weight for your height. I don't really like the definition of obesity because you could be a guy that's 6'4" and be 35 pounds overweight and be considered obese, or you can be a woman who's 5 foot tall and be 35 pounds and still be, that's going to look significantly different on those two people. Yeah. But what you're talking about is people who the term for that is actually morbidly obese, and that means that you're more than 100 pounds above your ideal body weight. And so it's also a clinical term, morbidly obese. And actually, the morbidly obese sector of the overweight population in this country is the fastest growing segment of the overweight population.
Oh, you're kidding.
Now, percentage-wise, there are the amount of people who are morbidly obese are growing at a faster rate than. Now, granted, there's a lot less of them, but they are growing at a faster pace. Matter of fact, one of the problems that we're having is funeral homes. They have no way to transport these people. There are special crematories that have been built for people who want to be cremated that are morbidly obese, because you can't just take a normal crematory or a normal casket and put a 400-pound person in it. It takes special gear and all kinds of things. So it's actually become a societal problem as well. There's a lot of factors that are involved in that. But yeah, when the skin gets stretched, there's only so much. I mean, there's nutrition you can take to help your skin make it more elastic, but in big picture, your skin is only so elastic, and when you gain,
it's sort of destroyed the collagen that gives your skin that elasticity, right?
Right, yeah. It's exactly what it is. Yeah, I mean, it is stretched out. It's like those old pair of socks, that when you bought them, they were nice and snug, and now 5 years later, because they were your favorite socks and you worn them to death, and they've got holes in the toes and the top doesn't even stay up because, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually just this weekend I went through I've got favorite
jackets and favorite shirts and favorite socks too. So I totally understand where you're coming from.
I have a sweatshirt that I still wear today that I've had for over 25 years. And I mean, the collar and the sleeves are all frayed and everything, but I just can't seem to get rid of it. I don't know why, but yeah, it's the same thing. Your skin is going to eventually lose the elasticity. And yeah, the only way around that is, when someone's lost a couple 100 pounds is, to go in and get plastic surgery done, which, if you lose 200 pounds, I think you should reward yourself with that type of plastic surgery. You deserve it.
And I think that there is a psychological justification for that. I mean, if you've gone through these and survived or actually prevailed in this tremendous challenge of losing all of this weight that's killing you, which is why you call it morbidity obese. The thing is that if you've gone through all those challenges and you have overcome it and you've reached those goals and you've done it, then you certainly deserve a reward. And the reward is, you're still not going to fit in those thin pants till you get rid of that hanging skin.
Right, exactly. Yeah, your body's just not going to look right, and you're right. Clothes aren't. Nothing is going to, because they don't make clothes for people with excess skin. Yeah,
there's no pocket. There's no pocket to tuck it into, right?
Right. No, there's not. But yeah, it's definitely. I think it's. If I was a person who was 400 plus pounds and I lost 200 pounds, I would certainly want to go in and get that surgery done, because I think it would, obviously the image of being morbidly obese is bad enough, but now that you're not obese anymore, you've got all this excess skin, that person is still struggling with body image.
So let me ask you, let me ask you this. Let's get past the image for a minute, and let's just say that this person has done all this work and they've lost all this weight and they've got this sagging skin, right? The heart still has to pump blood through all that skin, doesn't it?
Yeah, sure. And it is another health issue. The more mass that your body has, the more blood flow you have to have, and the harder the heart's going to work. Yeah, so certainly, removing that excess skin is going to make life easier for your cardiovascular.
So for morbidly obese people who have lost weight, whether they've done it through exercise or through diet or through lap bands or whatever they're doing, or maybe a combination of all of those things, when they do lose that weight and they have all that excess skin, is that something that is physiological, is covered by insurance because it is a health issue? It's not really it's not an elective.
I think it's considered elective. I think it's considered cosmetic. I've not had this direct discussion with anybody in a billing department at a cosmetic surgery place, but I've seen the success stories of people who have lost that weight and they still have that excess skin. And, the question, of course, was, how they were going to pay for it. Because it isn't cheap. It's still an expensive surgery to do. But, I'd have to look into that. But I'm pretty sure that because there's no diagnosis for, an ailment caused by excess skin, but I don't believe it's paid for by insurance. It would be, honestly, I think that to lose weight, especially like bariatric surgery, is covered by insurance. You would think that the elective surgery or the surgery for the skin repair would be covered by insurance.
Well, yeah, I mean, if the cause was covered, why isn't the effect covered? The other thing I wanted to ask you, for these morbidly obese people, and I'm not picking on that. It's just an interesting thing for me.
Oh, no, it's fascinating.
When these people have lost all this weight, now their heart has had to work just time and a half and overtime for all these years and all this time, and it has had to have an adverse effect on their heart. When they've lost all this weight, what happens to the heart? Does it reconstitute itself? Has it just kind of worn? It's only got so many heartbeats. Is it going to wear itself out? Have you already done the damage? Any idea what the cause and effect has here?
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that, the longer you're obese, the harder your heart has to work, the shorter your lifespan. And that's really the problem with obesity, and it's really the problem I have with this whole, body image fad that we've got going on, that it's okay to be this and it's okay to look like that and you should love me anyway no matter what I look like. And I saw some guy do a big rant about that the other day on someone had posted it on Facebook, and he was obviously not tactful in any way about it, but I did agree with everything he said, although it was one of those things that if you were in a group of women you'd probably be stoned to death for saying it.
Yeah.
But his point was, you want to be overweight and eat garbage and not exercise, and you want me to still love you regardless of the fact that you're overweight. I should love you for who you are as a person. He goes, if you're that overweight because you're lazy, he goes, then the kind of person you are is not someone I want to love anyway.
Right.
And I think that really, that speaks volumes. Is you can love someone who is obese, that's fine, but there's also that part that you go, what, this is something that is causing you to have poor health. It's no different than an alcoholic. Food, I'm telling you, sugar is massively, they say that sugar is as addictive, if not more so, than cocaine.
Well, I believe that. When I was younger, I used to love sugar. I love candy bars. I love all those things. But now it's not. I don't purposely stay away from them. I just don't crave them anymore. I'll have a candy bar once in a while. I love a payday or a frozen Snickers every once in a while. I'll love to have ice cream every once in a while, but it's not a daily occurrence, not even a weekly occurrence for me.
Right, yeah, it shouldn't be a staple of your diet. It's not something that I remember. Gosh, this was years. It was long before I even really got into the natural healthcare field. This was 20 plus years ago. I was going through college, and I was a server at this restaurant, and there was this large group of a couple, maybe a couple of families or something like that. There were some adults, some kids, and there was this I want to say little girl that she was already, I would say she was probably 11, maybe 12, something like that, and she was very obese. She was probably at this point already 40 plus pounds old, maybe 50 pounds overweight at a young age like that. And I just remember her vividly. She had freckles, she had red hair. She was a cute girl, but just very large. She was way too heavy for her age. And all of a sudden, I kind of, something she did caught my eye, and I looked over, and she had this look on her face like I'm going to get away with something. And she was looking, and she's watching all the adults, and she sneaks her hand over slowly to the sugar. She's drinking an orange soda. She grabs that big jar, with the metal top of the sugar that pours out the hole. Mm-hmm. And when no one's looking, she poured what was probably the equivalent of 4 or 5 tablespoons of sugar into her orange soda.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. And I was just, even back then, I was dumbfounded. I said, no wonder this girl is so overweight. She is a sugaraholic, and she's hiding it. She's like an alcoholic that hides the alcohol from her family. And it really, and that's what it boils down to is, there's nothing wrong with being obese. As far as it doesn't make you a bad person,
right.
What it does is it makes you a person that's opened yourself up to a lot of health problems. And frankly, I know very few people who feel better about themselves when they're overweight than they do when they're underweight.
Oh yeah. I think of myself, I get up in the morning, look in the mirror, I see Adonis with a full head of hair. Now I know that that's not who's really there, but that's what I envision in my mind. Now then I go out and enter into the world where everybody sees me the way I really am, but that's okay because psychologically I've worked it out.
Well, I look at you and I think you're awesome. So,
Thank you.
I'm one of those fortunate guys. I got a lot of gray hair, but I've got a lot of hair.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Every time I'm around someone who's balding on top, and I say, "Oh gosh, man, all my gray hair," they're like, "At least you still got hair. Shut up."
Well, I tell everybody I'm follically challenged because of the brain power underneath pushing all those follicles out of there.
Right. Well, they say, grass doesn't grow on the playground. So.
Hey, that's true. That's true. But I don't know if that has any kind of correlance with the hair, though.
Or maybe grass doesn't grow over the power plant. I don't know.
Yeah. There you go. Now we're talking. That's good. That's good stuff. So listen, we've got 2 minutes before we have to say goodnight to each other. Give us a kind of a preview of what we're going to talk about on Tuesday.
Well, I think, since we talked about it a little bit, let's go ahead and maybe we can, what we didn't even touch on, you asked me about ketones and ketosis last Tuesday. Let me touch on that real briefly. For those who aren't familiar with it, when you talk about ketones, ketones are a byproduct of your body burning fat. When you burn a lot of fat, you produce a lot of ketones, and it is considered a waste product, but the body is able to get rid of it, right? There is ketoacidosis. You can have ketoacidosis, but if it's not caused by diabetes, it's still not harmful to your body. So when people say, oh, he's in a state of ketosis, meaning that you're burning a lot of fat, a lot of people think negative because they think of diabetes ketoacidosis. If it's not diabetes ketoacidosis, then it's fine. It's not. There's nothing harmful about it. In fact, it's a very, very good way. The problem with getting into ketosis is you have to eat almost no carbs. I mean, like even celery can throw you off. So anyway, what I want to talk about next Tuesday, we got a full hour, so I'm sure we'll talk about more than this. So let's go ahead and talk about the different forms of exercise. Why cardio exercises may not be as beneficial to you as something that's more like an intense burst training that you literally, I'll break down a couple of different ways to do this, but how you can get exercise done in 10 to 12 minutes that will burn fat like a furnace. So I think that'd be a great topic.
That would be a great, I'm looking forward to hearing about that. I think that's going to be fantastic.
Cool. Well, we'll do
it. It just seems to me that stamina is a lot more important than cardiovascular, because if you're doing the minimum of things, I think cardiovascularly you should be okay. But stamina and being able to persevere and keep going, I think that's what you don't want to walk across a room and be winded, right?
Right, exactly, and that's easy to get to that point. So you should be able to. You should realistically be able to, an average person. I'm not talking about someone who's 90 years old, but even a guy in his 40s and 50s should be able to run a half a mile and not feel like he's going to die. Yeah. I'm not saying a full out sprint. Yeah. So, but there are exercises that are going to help you gain that, as you say, that's endurance, to be able to keep going all day long. And there are exercises that are going to help you with a fast sprint and things that will help you burn fat as opposed to, build muscle or whatever. So, there's different forms of exercise, and I think it's important to do a combination of them.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be fascinating. Hey, buddy, this whole hour, God, it just flies by.
It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, it sure has. Listen, you have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, stay happy, keep everybody around you happy, and we'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Same to you, Robert. Thanks.
All right. Now, for the rest of you, do not go away. When we come back from this commercial message, we're going to talk about the birthdays for today, the secret daily teaching for your life. That's a lifestyle tip. The Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. Don't go away, folks. We're going to be right back. You don't want to miss it.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. It's 46 degrees on its way to 38 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny, well, liquid sunny, Southern California. Actually, it looks a little sunny outside. It's really kind of nice. We had some rain spurts a little bit earlier, but, you know, we certainly need it here in California. But it is beautiful and it is nice, but it's going to be cool, which is kind of neat, too, when you think about it. Well, you know what? It's time for me to give you the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is don't pick your business partners based on personal chemistry. Now, what does that mean? Well, you know, having a good personal rapport with someone can help you see opportunities for working together, but chemistry is a poor foundation for business deals. Partnerships need to be face tough, analytical, and legal questions before they happen. That may seem like bad relationship manners, but it's a good business practice. Serious business partners are going to respect your due diligence. Start by evaluating the partner's resources and capabilities. Legal clauses seldom protect against partners simply not having what you thought they did. Next, explore options with other potential partners. This is, basically, is the partner that you have in mind really your best bet? Once you move forward, protect yourself by building a concrete mechanism for joint governance. You want to trust your partners, but do so only after properly structuring the relationship. And after the deal is signed, don't be surprised if your partners pursue their interests and use their leverage. It's not disloyal. It's just good business. Keep that in mind. It's never the way you think it is going to be. I used to tell people all the time, you know what? You absolutely need a good partnership agreement because you've got to make some agreements while you're still friends, because there's no question in my mind later on, at some point, you're not going to be, and you're going to need that agreement to straighten out all of the issues that you have between you. Well, you know what? It's time for the secret daily teachings for your life, and you've heard me say it all the time. This is based on a positive mental attitude. I firmly believe that you control your own destiny. You control your day. You control your feelings. You can decide how your day goes, and you can make everyone else's day be good simply because of how you control things. That's what this really is. Now, the secret for today is you are not alone. You know, within you is the infinite creative power and presence guiding you, loving you, and waiting to give you anything and everything you choose. You have access to all that is, to all that has ever been, and all that will ever be. And it is the creative power within you that makes that happen. If you have a positive mental attitude in that direction, in good, that's exactly what you'll get. If your positive mental attitude is the whole world's going to go to hell in a handbasket, well, that's what you're going to get too. You have no fear. That's exactly what's going to happen. So Make that a good, positive mental attitude. Well, we all know what today is, don't we? Sure we do. It is Thursday, January the 7th, and today is somebody's birthday. Okay, so we've got some great birthdays today. This lady was born in 1957, an Emmy Award-winning American journalist, currently the anchor and managing editor of the CBS Evening News. You know what? This lady is just fantastic. Her name? Happy birthday, Katie Couric. And here's a guy born in 1964, an actor born Nicholas Kim Coppola. Since pursuing acting as a career, he has appeared in over 60 films. Well, we should just say happy birthday, Nicolas Cage. And finally, born in 1966, passed away in 1999, was the wife of John F. Kennedy Jr., the son of President John F. Kennedy. Happy birthday, Carolyn Bessette Kennedy. And what happened today in history? You know? Well, January 7th, 1610, Galileo Galilei observes the 4 largest moons of Jupiter for the first time. He named them, and in turn, the 4 are called the Galilean moons. And in 1980, President Jimmy Carter authorizes legislation giving $1.5 billion in loans to bail out the Chrysler Corporation. And then finally, in 1999, the impeachment of President Bill Clinton begins on January 7th, 1999. Well, the quote for today comes from somebody we all know, Homer Simpson, and he says, "Son, if you really want something in this life, you have to work for it." Now, quiet. They're about to announce the lottery numbers. Yeah, that's kind of about the way life is, isn't it? I think so. Well, you know what? It's time for us to do those interesting but useless facts. We've got some really great ones for you today, and I hope that you enjoy this series as much as I do. Let's get right to it. You know the most common street name in the United States is 2nd Street? The first street isn't first because many times the designation is replaced with the name Main Street. There, give that some thought. How about this? Did you know bones can self-destruct? It is possible for your bones to destruct without even calcium intake, or without enough calcium intake. I'm sorry, that's what I should have said. Got to make sure you've got it. That's what causes osteoporosis, not enough calcium. So you generally have to get calcium supplements, things like that. Those are the things my good buddy Sean Lefebvre knows all about, and he talks about those things all the time. How about this? The most expensive book or manuscript ever sold at an auction was the Codex Hammer, a notebook belonging to Leonardo da Vinci. It sold for $30.8 million. Wow. Now there is a book, right? How about this? Did you know that India has a Bill of Rights for cows? Yep. And let me give you this one. Did you know that the number 2,520 can be divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 without having a fractional leftover? Isn't that something? That's interesting, I think. My grandson Joe would love to know about that. How about this? In February 1878, the first telephone book was published in New Haven, Connecticut. The book was 1 page long and had 50 names in it. Yep, there you go. You know that one. How about this? It has been calculated that a single breath from a mature blue whale can inflate up to 2,000 balloons. Now, I find that absolutely fascinating. Let me give you one more. Samuel Morse, who invented the telegraph, was originally a portrait painter and didn't give up painting to turn into inventing until he was 46 years old. Now, give that some thought while we're on this commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to do your emails for you. The first one comes from Emily Ann Hively from Athens, Tennessee, asking about the statute of limitations. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. You know what? It's currently 4:53 p.m. Pacific time, and it's 54 degrees on its way to 39 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny, well, liquid sunny anyway, Southern California. You know what? It's coming down to the wire. Time for us to answer your emails. And before I do that, I always caution you to check with a licensed professional before you do anything. They're always going to save you more money than they cost you, because we try to answer your emails, but basically sometimes this stuff comes in a little sketchy, and we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional. The reason for that is that they have errors and omissions insurance. It's the same thing as malpractice insurance, one of the requirements of their licensing, but it does mean that you don't have to worry about the IRS tapping you on the shoulder, knocking on your door, calling you, or sending you a registered letter, because if they give you bad advice, these guys pay the piper. not you. Keep that in mind. The other thing I want to remind you about is, we have our app out, and we'd sure appreciate it if you'd go out and get it. It's absolutely free. If you have an Apple product, just go to the Apple Store and search Robert Cardoza Live. Our app is right there. Download it. It's free. It'll allow you to see all of our archives, listen to our show live. You can chat with us during the show if you want to, and it's the best way to listen to us no matter where you are worldwide. If you have an Android product or a Windows product, just go to googleplay.com. Do the same thing. Search Robert Cardoza Live, and the app is right there. It's absolutely free. We'd sure appreciate it if you'd go ahead and do that, and tell your friends about it as well. Matter of fact, tell your friends about our show. Well, let's get right to these emails. The first one comes from Emily Ann Hively from Athens, Tennessee, asking about a statute of limitations, and says, when does the 3-year statute of limitations start on my tax return so it'll be safe from an audit? Well, Emily Ann, the IRS generally has 3 years to audit a tax return starting from the later of its original due date or the date on which it was actually filed. So, if you file your return by April the 15th, the 3-year period starts on April the 15th, while if you start later, it starts on your return's actual filing date. Now, you need to be careful here. The limitation period is 6 years if your return understates income by more than 25%, and there is no limitation period if you commit fraud on your return or don't file at all. So kind of keep that in mind. My next email is from Ian Hoffman from Burton, Michigan, asking about donated shares. And he says, years ago, a friend donated shares of his private corporation to charity, claimed a deduction for their value, and had the charity redeem them for cash from the company. So he got a deduction for the stock that he donated. Now, I'm in a position to do the same thing. Is it still legal? Ian, yes, it is. This is legal if the redemption is voluntary with the charity and not required by a pre-existing agreement. That is, the charity must have the legal right to keep the shares, although in practice, it will probably want to cash the cash obtained from redeeming them. Tax-wise, though, the deal's not as favorable as it once was. Lower top personal tax rates mean the charity deduction saves less tax, and today's low 15% capital gains rate offers more after-tax cash from selling the shares. But this is still a valid way to help a charity if that's what you want to do. So keep that in mind. Next email comes from Mac Hutchinson from Palos Verdes, California, asking about a vacant rental. It says, I own a house that I rent out. A family that had rented it moved out before their lease was up. I couldn't rent the house quickly, so it was vacant for several months. Can I deduct my lost rental income? Well, you know what? It's a great question, Mac, but unfortunately the answer to your question is no. You have no deductible loss for tax purposes since you received no rental income for several months. You simply report zero rent in your income for that period. But that lack of income, combined with your normal expenses of maintaining the property, may or may not produce a deductible loss from rental activity. Also, if you believe that you were wronged by your tenant's failure to pay you rent owed to you under that lease, you can sue them for it under the terms of the lease in your local court system. Now, any award you receive will be taxable income to you, so kind of keep that in mind. Well, our last email comes from Jack Altman from Union City, New Jersey. He's asking about IRA contributions. It's an individual retirement account. And he writes, can I contribute stocks that I own to my IRA? If not, can I contribute cash to my IRA and then have it buy the stocks from me? Well, Jack, unfortunately, the question, there's two answers. Both are the same. No and no. All IRA contributions must be made in cash. The only way that an IRA can receive non-cash assets is through a transfer from another retirement account. Let me give you an example of that. If an employer-sponsored 401k plan account holds stock shares, they can be transferred to an IRA. In addition, an IRA may be disqualified and lose its tax-favored status if it engages in any of a list of prohibited transactions. Now, prominent among these is any sale, exchange, or lease with its owner or a member of its owner's immediate family. That would be spouse, ancestor, lineal descendant, any of those things. So for more details, go to publication 590. That's Individual Retirement Arrangements, and you'll be able to get more of your information that way. Well, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. And we're on 405 Media Radio, Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific. Also, we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with John Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate on Mondays and Fridays from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope Video, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where you get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, John Matthews, Joe Hakos, and I do a simulcast on politics, and David Garrett presents his series On the Law. Please tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Pacific Time for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, if you're in California, stay dry. Otherwise, stay safe, stay happy. Make everybody's life that you touch better because you're in it. Until then, we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night, everybody.